I want you to preempt you so that you will not be caught off guard. Alright, what we expected to do today. Now, today, tour will be divided into two parts. One will be at Singapore River, and then the other one will be at Marina Bay Sand, the Shoppes area. Okay, fronting the Marina Bay. Okay, so how do we move from one place to another? From here, we'll be taking the coach all the way to Clarke Quay. Clarke Quay is located along Singapore River in the midstream, and from there we will start our exploration along Singapore River. Now, in the first tour, do take note, we have those people, there are two options. First option is to walk with me along a 2 kilometers route along the Singapore River. From Clarke Quay, we'll walk all the way past Boat Quay, past Raffles Landing site, and right all the way to the Asian Museum, and then all the way to Victoria Memorial Hall, where the bus will pick us up. So total journey is 2 kilometers. The weather unpredictable. Sometimes we can be caught halfway in the rain. Sometimes it's good and sunny today. So those people who can walk, I would then advise you to walk. Those people who are slow in walking, please try not to take the walk, because I know some people can. After halfway, Adrian, I'm tired, I need a break. Unfortunately, I cannot break, because why? I got to meet up to catch the bus at Victoria Memorial Hall, and that will bring us to Marina Bay Sand, alright, where we'll link up with the other group. Now, the second option now, those people who cannot walk or who have children, alright, because in such weather, I won't encourage you to walk, alright, because you never know what kind of weather it will foresee. Now it's dry, next minute is wet. What happened to me exactly happened to me just now when I was coming here. I was coming, it was a very hot day, halfway the clouds come down on me. I got no time even to change to my raincoat. So in Singapore weather, we have such type of weather, unforeseen and unexpected thunder shower that may hit you from time to time. Okay, so those who are walking, do expect such type of things to happen. Okay, so the second option for those who are slow in walking or have mobility problem, or especially when you've got very young children, right, you might not want to carry the 2 kilometers. Right, it's going to be a tiring experience for you. And along this journey, there are some ups and downs, because there are some embankment up and down along these 2 kilometers. So those people who don't choose to walk, you can go for the second option, which is to take the ferry, which is at Clarke Quay also. Down there, you only have to pay something like $24 for adults. Child below 12 years old do not need to pay. This is exception only for this particular tour. If you go on a public tour, it costs you more, and children all have to pay. Okay, so this is just your highlight. Now, what does this tour bring you? The ferry, it will bring you along Singapore River. You'll pass through certain landmark, Clarke Quay, certain buildings. You can get nice, comfortable to sit down and take pictures, panoramic pictures of all the bridges all along the activity along Singapore River. And it'll bring you all the way to Boat Quay area, from Clarke Quay to Boat Quay. There you see a lot of financial hub, you see a lot of buildings of the colonial past buildings, alright, and pass through Raffles Landing site, and then they'll bring you all the way to the Malayan. Those people who want to see a site of Malayan, you can, the boat will also bring you to in front of Malayan, where you can take nice, very scenic picture, and then you'll bring you around Marina Bay all the way, and then link up to the last disembarkation point at the Marina Bay Sand Shoppes, which is exactly where the Art Science Museum will be. I'm going to bring this first group, walk all the way to Victoria, take the bus, and the bus will bring us same place. We'll link up at the Art Science Museum at the Marina Bay Shopping. Okay, so you understand the options? Okay, very good. However, another thing that could happen is that while it's raining heavily, sometimes Singapore also declare lightning risk. When lightning risks are announced, alright, we know, because when we reach there, I will get a prompt, alright, if there's a lightning category warning, then we will have to abandon the walk as well as the ferry. Because Singapore is prone to lightning, and I do not want to risk any of you exposing to the lightning, alright, we never know when the lightning choose to hit which area. So that being the case, if it's raining heavily, likely I will cancel the walk, and also I will look at the options of the ferry. Now, if the ferry, because of lining on along the water, it may not also be safe. It may also abandon ferry operations. So that being the case, what will happen is that I will take you on the bus, like a commentary tour along this area, and then bring you all the way to the Marina Bay Sand, where you will continue the second part, giving you more time on Marina Bay Sand. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. All clear?
Yeah.
So please, those people who have choose to walk with me, you must have water. All right. Please have bottle of water. You don't have, halfway don't ask me, Adrian, where can I buy water? I can't help you with that, because I don't want you to be dehydrated, because here the weather is humid and very warm. Okay, so please equip yourself with a bottle of mineral water. If you can get it from McDonald's, or you can get it from the coach get them at $1 a bottle, but you need to cash for that. Singapore or $1 American dollar would be just nice, right? Okay, so any questions with that? Okay, now do take note also, very important, you are not allowed to put in any of your things in the vehicle, the coach, because the coach is not designated to us throughout. So nothing is to be left on the vehicle. Everything has to be brought with you, carried with you, especially those who are walking. Please don't say, I'm tired, I can't carry this thing. You need to bring everything down. Because when the coach changes, your things, if it's left there, it will be brought. You're picking up another group, things may happen. And you will not see the bus maybe until later in the evening. Or he may be assigned for other tours. So do take note of that, okay? So any questions? So please pay attention on the issue about the bag. All right, don't ask me whether you can put the bag in the bus anymore. Second, do not also request to sit in the bus because you cannot walk. The bus is going to another place. He won't be picking you and bring you to the next place. All right, so if no questions, all right, just stay where you are. I want to do a quick head count so I don't miss out anybody. There's supposed to be 40 of us. All right, don't move anywhere, just stay where you are. 5, 6, 7. Buildings, and you can get from one terminal to another, 1, 2 and 3, by means of the SkyTrain. The SkyTrain system have two sets. One is inside the immigration, the other one is outside the immigration. So it operates all the way until 1:30 a.m. in the morning and resume operations at 5 a.m. for a quick short maintenance run. Now, Terminal 4, those who are going there, you have to take a shuttle bus service that is provided 10 minutes interval, either from Terminal 1, 2 or 3. This shuttle bus will run there, it takes an average time about 10 minutes to reach the Terminal 4. Okay. Now currently we are building Terminal 5. Will be ready in 5 years time, and Terminal 5, when it's completed, will be as large as Terminal 1, 2, 3, 4 combined together, making it one of the largest terminals in the world. Alone itself will take up to 50 million arrivals, topping up the capacity. So over here on your left is Jewel. Now Jewel is the waterfall feature that you see in your videotape. Now some of you ask me whether you can go and visit Jewel. Yes, you can if time is on your side. After the tour, we'll bring you back to Terminal 1, we'll drop you outside Jewel, and you can explore that before you go back to your respective terminal check-in. Alright? So in Singapore here, you'll find that the whole entire area, these are built out of the reclaimed land, reclaiming land from the sea. Quick orientation, this is Terminal 2, Terminal 3, and behind Terminal 1. And Jewel is right in the center, making it very convenient for those people who are departing via 1, 2 or 3. And walking time is only 10 minutes. From Jewel to either Terminal 2, 7 minutes walking from Jewel to Terminal 3, and 3 minutes from Jewel to Terminal 1. Very, very convenient. So if you look around you, Singapore itself offers you lots and lots of greenery, lots of trees, lots of plants, and we pride ourselves calling ourselves city in the garden. So the whole country is like a city surrounded by gardens. So everywhere you go, you see nice trees, nice flowers, nice plants, everything. This is also in line to help us reduce the global warming effect, because urban development always generates a lot of heat transmission. So by using a lot of the area, concrete area, converting into trees and grassland, we are able to reduce the thermal heat transmission that you find in other cities around the world. Now Singapore got its independence since 1965. After the World War II, we started to try to be independent, but at that time, due to the Cold War, the British decided not to give us the independence unless we merge with Malaysia. By merging with Malaysia, we stand to be able to more dependent on their food and their rubber, their natural resources, which Singapore doesn't have. And because of the population mix of more Chinese than other races, the US and the British were very worried that we may become communist country. So that's why we have to merge with Malaysia. So in 1963, we merged with Malaysia, forming a Malaysia, Federation of Malaysia. Unfortunately, that merger didn't last long. After less than 3 years, the two governments couldn't agree on certain policies, economy policies, and of course the demographical policies, which the Malay rulers wanted special privilege rights for the Malays Bumi Putra. Lee Kuan Yew, our Prime Minister, did not agree to that. He wanted an equal right for every citizen. So, and also the economy, sharing of the economy was also another issue, right? They want to tax Singapore more than any other states because we were doing very well. So because of that, we eventually were told to leave Malaysia because of a riot that broke out between the Chinese and the Malays, causing a lot of bloodshed, alright? And this eventually resulted in us being kicked out of Malaysia. I use the word kick out, which is quite a strong word. Not to our choice, but we were told to leave. Malaysia saw us as a troublemaker. Okay, so we left, and then we became independent in 1965 on this date, 9th of August, which is coming. Alright, which is coming. And this year, we'll be celebrating our 60th birthday. Because we left in 1965. Alright, so it took us 60 years to build from a third world country to what we become. At that time, Singapore, when we left Malaysia, we were penniless. We are a state without resources, without natural resources, without much land. So everybody thought Singapore will die because no support from anyone. But somehow, by blessing of God and also the hard work of the people and good leadership we have, we survived. And in fact today, we are what we are. Okay, so I will be sharing you some of the past history, what other things happened here, and then maybe you have a little bit better understanding of Singapore. My main job is to get you to know Singapore better. Okay, so here, like I was saying, all these areas can you see on your left, these are all reclaimed land, that we reclaim land from the sea. Singapore being a small little country, we have no choice but to increase our land area. If you look at the map of Singapore, east to west Singapore is only 50 kilometers, north to south only 25 kilometers. Compared to Tokyo City in Japan is 4 times bigger than Singapore. Compared to London City is 2 times bigger than Singapore. So Singapore, such a small area, you notice the island is only 580 square kilometers, surrounded by lots of water. To the north is Malaysia, to the south is Indonesia, and you'll find that itself, Singapore, we have no choice but to extend the land. How? We cut all the hills we have, take the sand, dump it onto our coast, and extend it outwards. So this is the outcome of what you see now. This road you're traveling on is reclaiming land from the sea. Those parkway that stretches 20 kilometers, known as East Coast Parkway, are all reclaimed land. So this is how we increase. And today we have increased the land by 25%, making it from 580 square kilometers to 734 square kilometers. Alright? And we'll continue building and building, right? Stretching our territories. So, although we are a small little island, you'll find that Singapore, located 1 degree north of the equator, alright, is also have very high tropic weathers and high humidity. That's why many of you here will experience weather of humidity up to 90 to even sometimes 90%, causing you to sweat a lot. And here we have weather. Unlike the 4 seasons you have here, our 4 seasons is hot, hotter, hottest and wet. That's what happened to me. Okay, hot in the sense, at night the temperature can range from 29 to 31 degrees. In the mid-afternoon, like right now, it could be between 32 to 34. Alright, and in the hottest month of the year, it could be 34 to 36, which is in July and August. Okay, so here you can expect yourself to get wet all the time because of the rain and of course your sweat. You should be sweating later. Okay, so if you now look to the left, you'll find that this whole entire 20 kilometers of waters is called East Coast, and you'll find that this is also across out there is the Strait of Singapore, and you can see lots of ships anchor along the water. Now this parkway is very favorably used by locals and foreigners who are working here. There's a total population of 6 million people staying in Singapore. 4 million are locals, 2 million are foreigners working here in Singapore. And they come from regions like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Australians, New Zealanders, even to India, as well as all the way to the Middle East country and to Europe. So Singapore, we have 2 million of foreigners working here, which is a very good thing because they bring in their culture, their food, and all their so-called knowledge with them. So Singapore stands to benefit from all these professionals, all these people who come here, alright, to share their life with us. And if you can see here, this is the parkway itself. Also, you find that out in the water, you can see through the trees, there are lots of ships, big ships anchoring in our water, because Singapore also happens to be the world #1 port when it comes to topping up of fuel. We call it bunkering operations. Right now, we are leading in the world in terms of the amount of volume of fuel that is supplied to the vessels around the world. And we are also ranked #2 when it comes to the container, the 20-foot container transshipment. Now, we are just behind Shanghai. Shanghai was doing 50 over million containers last year. Singapore was doing 41 million 20-foot containers. We could have done more, but unfortunately we have no more space. Such a small little area, we don't have more space, alright? So what the government has decided, we are investing and reclaiming land on the western part of Singapore to build a land area that's able to contain 65 million 20-foot containers on top of what we have already. So, like Changi Airport Terminal 5, we are also expanding our port into bigger operations. So in the year 2040, this new terminal or this new port will be ready for all the ships. Alright, 15 years from now. So Singapore is also making plans right ahead, 5 years plan, 15 years plan ahead for our future generation. Right? So the new ports will have a lot of new features like the AI's concept, automated vehicles, driverless vehicles, everything on remote, drones flying over, greenhouse, all those things are going to come into the new port. Alright, we're using the latest technology. So let's talk a bit about population. Now we have 4 million people. They comprise of 4 ethnic groups. They are the Chinese, which form 75% of the population, followed by the Malays, 15%, and the Indians, about 8%, and 2% of the minority, the Europeans, Eurasians, and others. So this is the population mix. We divided the population into 3 different groups: the low income group, middle income group, and high income group. The low income group and the middle income group are staying in public housing like this. These are the public housing offered at discounted prices by the government, subsidized by them. So we have the 3 rooms, 4 room, 5 room executive apartment I mentioned. So it costs them $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 of different type of size. It sits on the 99 years lease. After 99 years, it goes back to the states for redevelopment. So usually, many Singaporeans will start buying their houses at the age of 25 to 30, around the age, marriable age. So you plus 99 years, many of them won't live that long. Right? Isn't it? So here itself, this is a typical public housing. You can see these are the 5 rooms. It sits on 1,200 square feet of in the building itself. All right. As well as it has a master bedroom, 2 bedrooms, common bedroom, attached bathroom, living, dining, and a study room. So very comfortable for a middle income group. So the low income group are those people who earn 3,000 or less a month, Singapore dollars. And in the middle income are those who earn between $3,000 to $9,000 a month. And the high income group are those who earn 10,000 and above. So those people are not allowed to buy the public housing. They have to buy private properties like condominiums or landed properties. So these units that you see here are the condominiums. A studio apartment here, on average, will give you 1.5 million. All cost you. 2 rooms about 2 million and 3 rooms close to 3 million. This is on 99 years lease. And here is a very favorable resident district called District 15 because it fronts the sea view and have the park by the side. So it commands high value here. If you think also this is one of the expensive assets here in Singapore, wait till you hear about our cars. Singapore itself, I would dare to tell you that we have the most expensive cars in the world. Toyota Corolla like this, traveling now passing through you, or a Merc that passes you, will easily cost you Toyota $160,000 to $180,000. For a Merc or a Lexus will cost you close to $250,000 to $350,000. If you are driving a Ferrari or Lamborghini, because
Ferrari more expensive, eh?
Yes, you got to be a multi-millionaire to pay for that.
Yeah.
It's close to $1,000.
Yeah, I know.
$1 million. Right? So here in Singapore, you notice why cars are so expensive. Because of the fact that the government want to make sure we control the population of cars. So every car have a lifespan of 10 years only. After 10 years, you have to scrap the car or to extend the life of the car. That is why, my friend, only 20% of the population in Singapore own cars.
Yeah. Just people rich, pretty much.
And who are these people who own cars? Are the rich, crazy Asians. You heard about them? They are millionaires or multi-millionaires. Last year's statistics show there are 242,000 millionaires here in Singapore. We don't talk about the billionaires, alright? Easily about close to about 100,000 of the billionaires. So here, it makes also the cost of living here very high. So when these people paid for a car permit, which for 10 years car permit, all cars are on permit. So what it means is that every year, the total number of cars that is scrapped, only the new permits will be the same, will be issued out. So let's say this year there are 10,000 cars. So we have 20,000 potential buyers. So only 10,000 permits will be issued out. So you want a car, you go and bid for this piece of permit. So currently, the bid for this piece of paper stands at $100,000 to $120,000 average price. That does not include the cost of the car. So whatever the car of the cost, you add on to that amount. and you only can drive it for 10 years. So you happen to have a Ferrari, after 10 years, you go and bid again. So rich people want to make sure they get a permit of this car, so they bid very high. That's why the price went up. Now on your left, I want you to look now, get your cameras ready. This is the Marina Bay reservoirs. It collects as much water as we can from the rainfall, and we use it to supply to the population. This is only one out of the 17 of reservoirs Singapore has. If you look across the water, there's a dam that separates the fresh water from the sea water, and right across where the boat is heading is where Garden by the Bay is. The super trees are behind, and we have the two largest conservative around in the world. And this here, right in front of you, the structure that is being built, can you see the markings on the track? This is where the F1 night racing formula takes place, the start point. And behind is the Ferris wheel of Singapore, known as the Singapore Flyer. It was once the tallest in the world, standing at 165 meters. Today somebody built 2 meters higher than us. So they became number one. Okay, we're now heading into the city. So here is at the city, you see, despite the fact that Singapore is quite stable, we are still building, still always tearing down and building new development, new buildings. We are always changing the facade and the landscape of Singapore. Alright. So every now and then you find that the planning division will decide this area to be changed to what area, to be residence, to be business, to be whatever hotel. So on your left you see these are all the 5-star hotel that's within the Suntec city. So this whole entire area, you find that the hotels will average around $400 to $700 a night stay. At the peak season during the F1, of course the price can go up by 50% or not double. So you can see lots of features are being built here along the whole. And fortunately we have foreign workers here. Without them, Singapore would never have been able to develop so rapidly, alright, with all the new infrastructure. So this hour happens to be a lunch hour crowd, so you're seeing people are going out for the lunch, and we are now heading into this whole business district area. And along here you find that people, in Singapore, 2 things you can't do. You can't smoke in a public, alright, at your own call. You have to go to a designated smoking point. So as a reminder to all of you, please don't light up anywhere in the public area unless you want to donate $300 to my government. And of course, do take note, vapes or electronic cigarettes is a banned item here. If you're caught using it, having possession it is $600 fine. And using vapes is $2,000 fine. So here you can see the people are very disciplined. If they want to smoke, they have to go at a certain place where they are designated smoking point for them to smoke. They can't just smoke anywhere they like. And of course, here you happen to be using our public transport, do take note of the following. Especially using the metro or using the public buses, no eating, no drinking, no smoking in any of these premises. Not even mineral water, my friend. So don't quote me, we are making an exception for you here on the coach because we don't want you to get dehydrated. So only mineral water is allowed. No other form of drinks are allowed. Because in Singapore, we ban people from drinking in the public services. Because why? People abuse. They drink, they throw, they spill, they litter up the whole thing, snagging everything. And then the whole area is littered with rats, with ants, with everything. So that's why the government is controlling such a measure. You find in Singapore we have lots of rules and regulation, much to the dislike of many, because why? We have so many foreigners here. They bring in the good and the bad habits. Alright, so over here, this is one of the famous hotels known as the Raffles Hotel. Stars like Elizabeth Taylor, Charlie Chaplin, Michael Jackson, alright, Garland, alright, as well as Obama family also come here for holidays. So here they have 109 suites. They don't have rooms. All suites come with a personal butler. So one night here costs you easily $2,000 a night or more, depend on the size and depend on the different type of suites that you choose. Right? Some can go as high as $5,000. The Singapore Sling drink was created here back then in 1950 by a bartender, alright, who works here. And today the drink selling at this hotel, the original drink, is now costing $75. So over here you see this is the convent of the Holy Infant Jesus Middle Education School. It used to be a convent run by the French nuns. They came here in the year 1850s and then they came here to preach the word of God. Alright. This is also known as the City Hall area. And right behind there you can see an Anglican church that was built by the British back then in the 1850s. This is the second building. The first building was hit by lightning and had to be tear down and rebuilt. So here stands the second building of the Anglican church, known as St. Andrews. So over here, this is the whole area that leads to the bridge there. That is where Singapore River is. The bridge crosses over Singapore River. This sector on this road is known as the North Bridge Road. So after you cross the bridge, it's known as the South Bridge Road. So the Singapore River have the North Bank and the South Bank. This road was built in 1830. It's one of the oldest roads in Singapore because it was used to connect the city to the harbour. Singapore River was used as a harbour a long time ago. Alright, during the British administration in the year 1820. Alright. And here can you see the very nice pink color building, or orange I think. So this building is also our Supreme Court. Yes, the Supreme Court, the present Supreme Court. And here, capital punishment are usually conducted here. Those who are bringing in drugs, drug trafficking, consumption of drugs. It's a very serious offense here. And right in front of you, next to the Supreme Court, is the Parliament House, where the Prime Minister and his cabinet minister sits. So this is Singapore River, can you see? So right there where we see is the Boat Quay area. Later we'll be walking all the way from the other end right to the other side. So this is where we'll be walking along this whole entire area. So it's not really sheltered with a little bit of what they call today now is good weather, so you get to enjoy the walk. Right. But for those, like I said, if you don't want to walk, because I said sometimes we're going to go up slope and down slope, alright? So do consider the ferry option, alright? And anyway, from experience and feedback of all the tourists who have taken the ferry, they enjoy the ferry. They say it's a very wonderful experience, alright? I've taken the ferry. The commentary are given on the ferry itself, where they are passing through the different land sites, alright? And you can take very nice pictures, alright? In a relaxed, under a sheltered environment. So those who are taking ferries, you can use your Visa card or cash to pay for it. So it costs for adult, like say 24, children below 12, free. So this is Clarke Quay area, the second key of the whole along Singapore River. We have 3 keys: Boat Quay, Clarke Quay and Robertson Key. 3 keys are constructed along Singapore to be used as ware storage houses. Alright, all the commodities of the big ships are then brought in and kept here until they are taken up again by the next ship that comes to pick it up. So on this side, as you can see, we are now heading towards Robertson Key, which is the extreme end of the Singapore River. Now Singapore River stretches 3.2 kilometers long from the river mouth all the way to the end. So this is where all the water, the drainage are all drained to Singapore water and then brought out to the sea. So on this side, as we're turning in, this is the whole area of Robertson Key, the furthest end of Singapore River. Now why they need to construct 3 quays is because during those early days, they built Boat Quay nearest to the river mouth, but it was full. Then they had no choice to build the second quay in 1830, and that was called Clarke Quay. But even despite that, the bigger warehouses, it was still full, because when the Suez Canal opened in 1869, more volumes of shipment come in. So they had to build the third quay, comprising of even bigger warehouses and factories. So even that, despite that, it was also full by the time 1870s, and they had to look for a new, bigger area. Later they call it the New Harbour, and the New Harbour was operating concurrently with the Singapore River. all the way until the 1930s. Right? Then in 1940s, because of the war, everything started to take this slow down. And after the war, as the government started to come in, they decided to continue re-operate the whole river as well as the new harbour. And that's the time where they decided, the new government decided to invest into container. And we in Singapore is the first country that invested in container operations, storage of container in Southeast Asia. And that's why today Singapore is handling such a high volume of containers. So I'll also share you why the British decided to pick Singapore as and Singapore River as a port. There have been many other places. Why did they choose Singapore? What was the criteria that met their expectation? Alright, so later we'll talk about that. Now in Singapore, if you do come here and stay longer, you notice that people have to walk along the white dotted line. This is the pedestrian crossing, and there are markings there. The green color means you can walk with the time out very slowly. If you walk while it's red color, you pay the fine. Singapore have lots of CCTV everywhere, so it is used for both as a deterrence against offender, a deterrence against any crime, and also meant more for security, because all these cameras can be tapped and replayed with you by the police authority for their investigation. So over here you find on this side, this is where the Robertson Key area is. You can see all those houses now converted to hotels, used to be warehouses, including some alongside the whole river. We are turning now here. This part of it is Clarke Quay. That's where we'll get off. Alright. So remember, bring down everything you have. Right. Do not leave anything in the vehicle. Right. Now Singapore River, if you look at the back picture, used to be like that. Long time ago. Alright.
Sungai.
So ships
Sungai
were
zaman
anchored
dulu.
just alongside the river, unload here,
bangunan itu nah, itu.
onto the warehouses,
zaman dulu.
keep it there until the next ship come and pick it up. So a picture of Singapore River, they are filled and stop all the pollution. So in the past you can see cargoes in and out. In those days they didn't have 20 foot what do you call? They don't have the 20 foot until like the water. And then it's much fuller. Sorry? No, I didn't. Yeah. Lightning, as far as Thai food, alright? Because like you see, we have many foreigners coming here to work. So they bring along with them food, so-called culture, right? That's how we share each other. Now you see those boats? This used to be the boats that's carrying all the goods and all these boxes. So they are the ones that bring in, and then the stack is here. You see, they are built for a purpose. So whenever the tide goes up and down, the boat, at the bow of the boat, they'll put a plank over onto here, and then use it like a crossing to carry the goods. So in those days, can you imagine, if it's right at the end, the guy carrying the sack of rice have to climb out. So it's a very, very challenging task for them. So these men are very tough, right? So if you can see the colorful building there, can you see with the Singapore flag? Anyone want to guess? That building was built in 1934. Lots of windows. There are 927 color windows there. The popular local food will be like the chachu, alright, the noodles, and then some of them you can see here, all these are noodles, alright, but of course here is restaurant price. If you go to the what they call eating outlets, it will cost you maybe $5. Alright, so these are some of our local favorites. Now along here you also that chili crab is one of our favorites. And another very good choice of soup that you can get is here across the road. So bak kut teh itself is the pork group of soup, very flavor, right? So those people who have not tried this, you can explore this. So you see long queue means food. Right? So certain people who want to do play the guitar or do bass, you must have a The chili crabs there are fantastic. Alright, here moderate because each chef have their own recipe. This is the start of Boat Key. This is the first quay that was built. And if you notice, the warehouses or the storage are much smaller as compared to Clark Quay. Why is it so? Is because it was the first quay the British built. But after a short while, it was overwhelmed with goods. So they have no choice but to build Clark Quay. This time with bigger warehouses and bigger units for more storage space. And you'll find that all this area currently, again, is used as a place for food, for restaurants. And here you can find almost all kinds of food. Turkish food, alright, Asian food, Western food, Indian food, almost everything. And directly behind it, you can see the whole cluster is the commercial area. And you can notice all the high skyscrapers are all owned by the banks of the world. This is also the financial hub. Now, under the British administration, when they first set up here, they like to zone areas under the Raffles we call town plan. Now, Raffles was the guy who founded Singapore on behalf of the British. Under his plan, he divided certain areas into certain use. So on this north bank where we are standing, he decided this will only be used for government buildings only. No residence or no commercial. And then he decided on the south bank, across, will be where the commercial is. Alright, so that's how he divided the place. And if you look directly behind you, this is the Supreme Court. This was the Parliament House, still government building. And later as we walk down, a lot of those yellow color buildings that was built in the 1840s, 1850s are all government departments meant for their administration. So for the immigrants who came, the Chinese, similar, they organize them and say all the Chinese, wherever you come from, you will go to Chinatown. And all the Malays will go to Kampong Glam. And all the Indians will go to Joliet Street, not Little India, Joliet Street, which is just further up of the river. And all the Europeans will be at where currently, just now you saw the Raffles Hotel. That is a European town. That's how he clustered residents from business to all the government buildings. Alright? So here you'll find that as you walk along here, notice there are lots of cameras here. Can you see along the perimeter of the Parliament House? Yeah. Now in Singapore, we use the CCTVs for security and for safety. So a lady can be walking in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. in the night, you're very safe. Singapore is also considered very low crime rate. The only type of unfortunate incidents we have are people who are crazy. Alright, they bring around knife and choppers. These are the crazy people. But they'll be arrested because public will call in and the police will come in to apprehend them. Alright. So we have past cases of people who freak out due to either depression or whatever. Alright. Sometimes this type of thing do happen. Other than that, it's quite safe because if you are, let's say somebody robbed you here, all you need to do is tell the police, I was on this date, at this time, I was robbed by the man wearing this blue color t-shirt or things. They will trace back all the cameras and locate where he ran to. Within less than 48 hours, he will normally be arrested. Alright, so this is the effectiveness of the camera system that's used as deterrence. Alright, so here you find likewise the other key, they have a lot of steps, and again the boats use this step because of the rising tide up and down to put the plank across onto their bow of the ship, and then they walk across. So this was how it was done. Let me see. Then you'll find that in those early days, all the trading take place around here, the river banks. Right? And also you can see a cluster of the picture here. You can see all these are all around here. Yes, because those boats that's carrying are all those boats you see there, those junk boats.
Oh, the little ones.
The little ones, not the big ship.
Okay.
The big ship, you notice, this is now Boat Key. Alright, this is where the Singapore River mouth is. And this is where the big ships are, their anchor. So they will go out, the small boats, carry all the items and load it onto the warehouses alongside here. Alright, so the harbour functioned all the way until 1970s, late 70s. Alright, that's where we decided to clean up the river in 1982 for a good 10 years. This building itself is here. So all the big ships that come, they will land and then they will drop the meals here. It's also the residence and the office of the port master, or we call the port attendant. The port attendant is the person that's in charge of the whole entire Singapore River harbour. So his office is here. And you'll find that back in those days, can you see, all these high-rise buildings did not come. Alright, this picture was taken more in the 1960s, before the skyscraper were all built. Alright, and you'll find that here itself was nothing but the open sea. So this was the Singapore River. Where we are now, we are just standing in front here of this Cavendish Bridge. This is the Cavendish Bridge, built in 1869. It was only at that time used for horse carriage, wagons, as well as for the bullock carts and the rickshaw. Alright, people who were walking the thing. So this bridge was only designed to carry a weight up to a certain capacity. So when the motorized vehicles start coming in, alright, they had no choice but to build a second bridge there. That is known as the Anderson Bridge. It was built in 1909 to cater to trucks, to lorries, to cars, because it has a heavier laden weight. Alright?
I always believe life is very, very interesting. You go back to nature. When we first come out as a child, we don't know anything. We cry for when we are hungry. That's the first sound we make. Alright. Then after we do mama, papa, and all kind of funny words. You know? So we are looked after by our parents when we were very young. All the way until we go to school and so forth. When we get older, now the whole thing changed. Our children will look after us. Alright, they will help us put on the diapers. Alright, they will walk us along the street. Alright. And sometimes when we forget our memories, they teach us, right? So it's like a cycle. If you look at life, it's very interesting, alright? So enjoy it while it lasts. That's what I always say. So my friends always advise me, say, Adrian, very important for you to take note. Don't just work and work and work and save and save and save. He said money that is not spent on yourself is not your money. So what do you mean by that? He said because you can have lots of money in the bank, millions of dollars, but a day will come where you may not be able to use it. Nobody knows when. So the true money that truly belong to you are those money you have already spent on yourself. So look at it this way, alright? And some of them, like some of my friends, they are very rich people, lots of money in the bank, but they are down with cancer, down with this diabetic, down with stroke, down with, and they cannot enjoy it anymore, even though they have lots of money. So the saying goes, in your young, you pursue wealth in exchange for your health. Later, you try to get back your health in exchange for money. So it's a cycle. Never ending cycle. Okay, over here, you can see this is the Marina Bay, and just beside it is we call the theatre. The concert theatre, and across there is the Marina Bay Sand Hotel. Can you see? Where we're heading is those blue houses there, just in front, that is the Shopee, and this is the Malayan. Can you see the Malayan spouting water? Alright, this is one of the famous tourist spots. So our coastline used to be here, long time ago, before we reclaimed land from the sea. So what you see on the other side are all reclaimed land. Now what's going to happen is that when we reach the other side, well, depending on the time, because I need to bring you back to the airport no later than 3:30, right? So we have to leave the place before 2:55, alright, 2:55. So when you reach there, we'll quickly walk along this whole area, take some nice picture of the Marina Bay, and then after that we have to go back already, alright, to the so-called airport. Now at the airport you can go and visit Jewel. Down there you can have food. You have more choices, a variety of food. I know all of you are hungry. I'm hungry too. Right? With all the smell just now. So go back to the Jewel and then you will find lots of food at the basement one. Right? A lot of local Asian cuisine food. So you find that Singapore's favorite pastime, and also for tourists, you have a lot of people, they would like to, at night it's much of, around 6 o'clock when it's cooler, people will then come out and then they will enjoy more along the whole Marina Bay. Now it's a bit warm, alright, fine. So you can literally walk around the bay from the Malayan all the way to the marina. And from there, there's a bridge connecting from the Marina Bay Sand Hotel into Garden by the Bay. So this water, like I said, is collected so that you can use it to supply to our local. This is only one out of the 17 reservoirs. In Singapore, we have 17 such reservoirs, collecting as much water as we can to be able to provide to the 6 million people. Alright? And Singapore itself, we have to make ourselves self-sustainable. Alright? Of course, we learned from the COVID experience when all the sea lanes were blocked. We were very dependent at one time on the import of goods and food. So during COVID, it taught us a lesson. You cannot only depend on one supplier. So today we have diversified our so-called outsourcing to more of the other provisions, right? Then find it here. Okay, here we always have functions. These are functions sometimes staged up for events, either for company, for seminars, for exhibitions. This place itself where we are heading is known as the Marina Bay Sand Shopping. Inside there you'll find there are lots of retail shops selling branded goods from Italy, from France, from many of the countries. And these products itself, you notice in the shop, they don't have a tag of price. So I asked the sales girl, I said, why don't you have price tag? Otherwise everybody will be asking you the same question over and over again. See, this is a type of item that is exclusive. Normally those real buyers don't ask for the price. They come, they give you the card. So, and these items are very expensive. Some of the bags here are selling at 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. Shoes, at least 4 digit, or if not 5 digit. So it's crazy. So how come people can afford such things, you wonder. But like I said, Singapore has a lot of rich, crazy Asians. And you'll see that the shows are actually so-called taken from Singapore scenes here. Alright, these are the real people who are behind the scene. They are very quiet, very low profile, but they spend money like water, really like water. But anyway, like I said, money is not yours until you spend on yourself. So please don't stinge on yourself. If you like it, enjoy it, but within your own budget control. Don't procrastinate. I'll buy it. The day may never come. Right, the day may never come. When you like it, enjoy it, and then, but of course, budget. Okay, on your right is the Marina Bay Sand Hotel. We have 3 towers here. They are owned by the Las Vegas Sand Group. So they are the biggest. So they built this building at a cost of close to $8 billion. They are now building the 4th tower to connect to the 3 towers. And alongside, they are also building a 15,000 spectators concert hall. Alright, this will be ready 3 years from now in the year 2028. All these facilities will be ready. So like I said, Singapore landscape is always changing. So please remember to bring down everything. We are going to walk through here and then let's try to find time also, alright, so that we can enjoy the balance of time here.
Yes, no time to enjoy. If I got money, I buy more.
Helix Bridge, but we call it the DNA Bridge sometimes. And you'll find that just over here, we are also changing the landscape here very soon. You'll find we are building a whole entire of a so-called floating stadium. Alright, this floating stadium is basically what happened. You know, our young men at the age of 18 years old in Singapore, you have to serve national service. It's compulsory. No male citizen of Singapore escape from it. You are either rotated to the military, police, or the civil defense. The only reason you can be exempted from doing the training is provided you're medically unfit. And to be able to be endorsed, it must be done by a panel of doctors appointed by the Ministry of Defense. Outside doctors, they can write anything they want, but it will not be accepted. Only the panel of doctors. Because we don't want to have all kind of funny falsification or all kind of nonsense. So here itself is a serious offense if you don't serve. There are many young men, rich family background, the parents send them overseas to study, and after stay there 30 years old, they are back. They come back to Singapore thinking they will escape national service. During the period while they are away, they have got a status called deserter. The minute they land in Singapore airport, they are straight away handcuffed, brought for court martial, sentenced 2 years. Yes. Then they will continue to serve, even at the age of 32. Choose not to serve, go in another 2 years, unless really you renounce your citizen. So this is a very serious offense. We are not going to set any precedent for anyone who comes from whatever background you are. So whether you're a prime minister's son or you're a billionaire son, you have to serve your national service, even before you go for your overseas studies.
So in Italy before, until 40 years ago.
Okay, so as a rule, 18 years old, 2 years compulsory, followed by reservists. Now, if you have studies overseas, you are allowed to go and study 3 years, then come back and then do your reservists. That's how it is. Sorry? Reservist is for until you reach, I would say, the next 7 years. Next 7 years. So by the time you reach, you see, 20 years old, then you do your reservist about 27. Some delay because of the studies 30. That's where the time you get married and you have a new family. That's where they relieve you of your duties. Alright? Because you are fit for those age. So reservist, what does it mean? Out of the 365 days, 40 days you have to put aside for call up by the military to do upgrading, skill training or anything like that. Or sometimes even send for overseas training. So this is the requirement here. Alright? So I was in the military, Air Force for 20 years. Alright? So I did my tour there for 20 years. So it was quite an enriching experience, alright? I was flying the drone, you know those UAVs at that time. So Singapore is always advancing its military, alright? And we have a lot of cooperation with our Asian country. We send our troops to Taiwan for training, to Australia for training, as well as to India, alright? For certain kind of formation like artillery, to the US for the Air Force. So a lot of places. Why? Because Singapore, we don't have land to train. And we don't have airspace to fly our aircraft. It's such a small area. So we have no choice. That's why we have to cooperate with a lot of other forces. We send our armor units to Australia. Our helicopters for training there. At the Shorewater Bay training area. Yes. So we are everywhere. We even go to certain part of Indonesia, alright, for cooperation with the Indonesian armed forces and things like that. Because we are forging an ASEAN identity. Right. So we have a lot of cross training, a lot of bilateral exercise and things like that. So you can see the land side here are again building. So what is going to happen? Very soon you find in Singapore all the cars that is running on fossil fuel. Right now we only have about 20% that's running on electrical. But why is that so? It's because we don't have enough electrical charging points for the moment. So we are now equipping the whole island, especially the car parks, everything to convert into electrical so-called charging points. So by the time 2030, you'll find that at least 60% of the cars will have become electrical. And the target, by 2035, all cars will become electrical, and you won't have drivers like this anymore. You will become a driverless autonomous vehicle. Everything is all auto. So that is the technology that we are embracing, and very time is coming online soon. So again, here you'll find that we are building up again a lot of infrastructure. This is for the F1 night racing that takes place usually around the month of September. So each time when you have a lot of new building projects for the local, generating a lot of work, as well as a lot of opportunity for people to have their so-called revenues, right? So these are private condominiums, you can see. And right across there, you can see this is our National Stadium. This is where this lady by the name of Taylor Swift came to perform for a good 3 over days, right here. So it attracted a lot of people. The stadium can house in 50,000 people, spectators. So in Singapore, what is our national language? Our national language is Malay, because the origin of Singapore were from the real islands, alright, from the Srivijaya Empire. So they came to Singapore, they settled here with the first of the early immigrants, and they were known as the Orang Laut. Means Orang is people, Laut is sea people or Normans. So they were the first people who arrived in Singapore. Back then in the 19th century, there were less than 500 people comprising of this Orang Laut and a little bit of Chinese who were here for trading. So when the British came, alright, they started to bring in business, trading. So many of the people, like the Chinese, started streaming into Southeast Asia to look for work. Why did the Chinese leave their own country to come all the way to Southeast Asia? It's because of the ongoing war that took place around 1840 to 1850s. That was the period of the Opium War. Alright. China was invaded by foreign forces, alright, and many of the provinces that were affected by the war started to run out to look for jobs and to look for provisions so that they can provide for the family. So the Chinese started streaming down all the way from different part of China, Guangzhou, Fujian, Canton, all coming down in wave through the jungles, the Chinese jungle. And when they landed here, some were in Penang, some were in Malacca, some came to Singapore. Alright? So not only the Chinese, the Indians community from southern part of India, like in Sri Lanka, Tamil Nadu and Bangladesh, they in the year 1870 was going through a lot of poverty, a lot of famine, a lot of wars. Like the Chinese, they also started streaming down to look for work. Then we have the Malays. The Malays came from different parts around Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Java, Sumatra. And why did they come? Because many of those people who were in Indonesia, they came under the Dutch rule. So they were not treated very nice or kindly. So many of them decided to run and to look for greener pasture. So they also start streaming in. So you find that in Singapore, our history of immigrants started back in the 19th century. The Chinese, then for the Malays, the Indians, right, and the others. That's how over the years they formed the population of Singapore. Right. Back then, how did Singapore got its name? Now, Singapore, a long time ago, was known as Temasek. It came from the Malay word Tasik, which means sea town, because it was like a town surrounded by sea. Right. In the early century, I'm talking of back in the 11th to 12th century. A prince from the Srivijaya, that's in around the so-called Sumatra and the Java area, he went hunting one day and he found that funny, at this area, new ground that he saw a beast confronting him and the hunters. So he asked the hunters, how come this beast is so brave? He's defending his territory despite the fact that we are going to hunt him down. So he asked them, what is the name of this beast? And the one of the subject told him, Prince, this beast is called Singa, which means lion. So in Sanskrit, Singapura was the language that they used. So the prince said, henceforth I shall name this new place I see Singapura, which means Lion City. So that's how we got our name in the year 1299. So it became Singapura instead of Temasek. Right, so this is why we had the Malayan. Just now you saw the Malayan with the body of the fish. What does it symbolize? The head of the lion symbolizes the people of Singapore. The body of the fish symbolizes that like a fish, we need water for our survival, which bring in maritime trade, bring in the people, the immigrants, and all these people. So that whole Malayan symbolize that. When it's pouring water out from its mouth, what does it symbolize? Now water, you know, is life. Without water, all of us will die, right? So the lion is pouring life, okay? And for the Chinese, water is money, wealth. So when the lion is spouting water out from his mouth, it's giving life and wealth into the lifeline of Singapore, which happens to be the harbor. So Singapore River is the harbor, the lifeline of Singapore. So that Malayan, which used to be stationed at the river mouth of Singapore River, was pouring life and wealth into the lifeline. So that's why many of the people, tourists, they like to take picture drinking the whole water. Right? Receiving from the lion. It symbolized receiving wealth and health, right, into your body. So now you understand all these symbolic things, right? So we'll be reaching the airport in about 10 minutes time from now, 10 to 15 minutes time. So what some of you can do, you can, if you have time on your side, you can go and visit Jewel. Now I'm going to explain to you how much time you require at the Jewel and how you can move around there, alright? So now the Jewel is located, just now you saw for yourself, in the middle of Terminal 2, 3 and 1. The architect who designed it has cleverly designed so that access to all the 3 terminals can be linked by link bridges. From Jewel, there is a link bridge that will bring you to Terminal 2 direct into the departure hall. And likewise for Terminal 3 too. So this link bridge only require from Jewel to Terminal 2 10 minutes of walking time. And from Jewel to Terminal 3, 7 minutes. And to link to Terminal 1 is only 3 minutes just across the road. So those of you, very fast. If you need to use the link bridge, just use the link bridge. And if you're tired, there are also travelators inside the link bridge, air conditioned. Right? So very easy. All of you just now came out from the arrival hall. Later, you must go into the transit area by means of the departure hall. Right? So the departure hall just need to show your boarding ticket and your passport. You don't need to fill up any more form. Just show them and you can access back to the transit area. Yeah, yes, correct. So once you are inside the transit area, go and pick up your luggage if you are levy in Terminal 2 or Terminal 3. And if your boarding flight is going to be at Terminal 1, use the SkyTrain. The SkyTrain inside there will be able to bring you from where you are, Terminal 3, direct to either Terminal 2 or Terminal 1. Right, so very, very fast. How much time you need? Now, later I'm going to drop you off. You go there. After you finish your exploit there, you can just walk, use the link bridge. It takes, let's say, 10 minutes of the time. Alright, worst case in Terminal 2. Once you reach departure hall, show your passport, everything. It's clearance is very fast. There's no officer that's going to mark you. Just scan your passport like what you did just now. So it's almost very fast, less than 10 minutes, right? And then as you enter into the transit area, go to your luggage, pick up your luggage. Let's say 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Then give yourself another 15 minutes to move from the luggage to your boarding area. So all under less than 1 hour. Okay? So what can you do in Jewel? Now Jewel itself, they have 5 level of shopping retail outlets and almost 3 levels of basement. Now in Jewel, the 5th level offer you a place for you to drink beer, have cold food, have what they call finger food and everything. And down there they offer the drinker beverage, either all the international beer, all the whiskey, the red wine, white wine, rice wine, whatever you want. Now the 4th level of Jewel offer the ladies an option where you can go and treat yourself well. Down there they call it the wellness floor. You can go to the spa, you can go there, have a face massage or have a mask or do finger, you know, or even have manicure, pedicure, whatever cure you want. As long as you give them the money, they give you the honey. No money, no honey. Alright, so for the third floor, those people can also go to the restaurants. They have lots of restaurants from different kind of outlets, from Italian, Mexican, Spanish, Vietnamese, Thai, Japanese, local Asians and Chinese food, lots of them. Some of the restaurants have been awarded with Michelin Star Award. They have Indian restaurant, North Indian food, South Indian food, vegans food, so plenty of choices, dim sum and stuff like that. All on the third floor. On the second and the first floor, you also have lots of retail shops selling you apparel, whereas you have an Apple shop, alright, where you can buy your digital items, watches or anything electronics. You have a lot of also others product of what they call branded goods or non-branded goods, alright, whichever. So lots of retail shop. In all, you have about 300 over retail shops to shop from footwear, alright, clothes to spectacles to watches to everything, alright. It's like a shopping center basically. In fact, this one they offer you a wide range of product coming from different countries, alright. So those who are hungry now, like me, you can either go to the ground floor, have a coffee there. We have Bacha coffee, Paul's coffee, Starbucks coffee, Japanese coffee, Yakult coffee, every kind of coffee you can get. You have toast bread, you can have cakes, you can have pastry, you have all kind of delicious items on the ground floor. Those who are in for food, real business, go to basement 1. Down there you find lots of arrays of food, alright, selling biryani, roti prata, chicken biryani, what they call mutton biryani, alright, North Indian food, naans, alright, and samosa or whatever, alright. So lots of choices. Those people are Filipinos, you will there's Jollibee there, chicken that you can enjoy, alright. And if you like Korean food, ramens, a lot of ramen, Japanese sashimi, and all the fried stuff, alright. So even McDonald's or KFC or whatever, everything is at basement 1. Basement 2, there's a supermarket. You can buy your drinks from there, alright, whatever things you want, alright. And lots of souvenir shop, you can buy items from there too. And all these are very, very, what is the center of attraction is right in the middle of this whole area is a waterfall feature. Currently is the world tallest. They call it a rainbow vortex. The designer who designed this building shaped it like a tabloid, or I call it like a donut. Right in the middle where the donut is the cavity, he cleverly designed a waterfall coming down 40 meters high. And this waterfall feature is surrounded by lots of landscape of trees and plants. So when you walk in there, you get a feeling like you are in the jungle, but surrounded by lots of trees, but yet there's a waterfall coming down. So choose a spot, sit down, just close your eyes and listen to the rain coming down. It's very relaxing and very soothing. Temperature inside there is 23 degrees. And this is not by air conditioner. Where you're sitting below you, that's where the cool pipes are. This is the one generating the cool air from underneath. And all the trees you see are real trees, 2,000 trees over, and they are lined up in tiers, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. You can choose any of the tier to sit down and relax. So if I were you, go to basement 1, grab something that you like, alright, a food, takeaway, go up there and then just enjoy while you're watching this thing. But please remember to clear your rubbish, because there are lots of camera there, alright? So don't get yourself into trouble with having to pay a fine. So it's a very good place to visit, alright? So I encourage those who have not been there to go and visit, alright? And what's more is that it is free admission, alright? You don't believe it, right? Singapore, everything free. This one also free, the one free. Then how do we make money? We make money when you go and shop, when you go and eat. Alright, we look at it in a whole. But the whole more important thing is to give you a taste, a bit of taste of Singapore, what you can see. Because many of you who come here hardly spend time because you were thinking, what is in Singapore? So this is to give you a perception of what Singapore or the other attractions. Of course, you can visit the zoo. We have a very good zoo. We have a very good aquarium. at Sentosa, we have Universal Studio, and many of the attractions. So you want to come to Singapore, short tour like 3 days is good enough, right? 3 days. Then link it up either to go to Bali or link it up to go to maybe Johor or Malaysia, or even with a cruise. That's what a lot of tourists does, to make it into a complete package. Right? Why people stay here 2-3 nights? Because our hotels here are a bit expensive if you consider comparing with our neighboring country, be it Indonesia or Malaysia. Right? So people just come in here, enjoy what they want, and then they move on. Right? So I hope you have enjoyed this tour. We come to the end of the tour, and I also want to give you a good blessing. Alright, may God bless all of you with a safe trip wherever you are going, and of course bless you and your family with good health and wealth. Alright, thank you everyone. Okay, we'll be reaching the airport soon. So if you can help us, give us your feedback about the tour. This is the Singapore River and the Maritime Bay Sand. So by scanning your phone onto the purple icon, it will help you reach us into the feedback, and you can put in the tour you're in, and then scroll all the way to the top. My name is right on the top list, Adrian. Alright, and we appreciate your feedback. Alright, to help us improve on the tour. Yes, the